like I promised. How you doing? Okay, finishing my story. Went and looked up Verity. Everything was nice, everything was classy. I liked it. You could click on the artist's name and their picture would come up and a little bio of them underneath it. And it was really cool. And so I was like, oh, okay, I want to be on Verity. I want these people to sign me. And the Lord was like, do you see anything wrong with this page? And I was like, no. And so he didn't say nothing. I went on clicking and reading for a minute before I realized he stopped talking to me. What am I supposed to do now? So I was like, maybe I said something wrong. So came out of the whole excitement mode and scrolled down, and I saw links to other pages and other websites. So I was like, okay, well, let's look at these. Well, So Deaf was one of them, and I knew So Deaf was not a Christian gospel label, because I remember when I used to listen to secular music, JD and Bow Wow would be like So Deaf. So I was like, what is that doing on Verity's page? What did I have a link to that for? So I didn't click on it, but Zomba was there and Arista was there, and I clicked on Zomba, and big old picture for him pops up, and I'm like, okay, I can roll with this. This is Fred. This is cool. I went back to Verity's page and then clicked on Arista, and all of a sudden there's like these naked girls dancing in my face. I'm like, what is this? What's going on? I was scared, So I clicked off that page and I went back to Verity. But I was just like, I was shocked, and I was like, what does this mean? and the Lord was like, this is the beginning of the merging between the church and the world. I need you to start up a gospel recording company. That's how it started. And I was just like, what? What are you talking about? I can't do that. I'm a kid, And he's like, I need you to start up this company. It's only going to get worse. And so I was like, okay. Now, just to testify, it has gotten worse. I want to tell you, I was doing some research a few weeks ago, and Columbia, I think it's Columbia had a gospel label. They had a gospel music label that had Ty Tribbett on it, and Mary and other people, I believe, and they just took the gospel music label away, and now all these gospel artists that were on that label were just merged with the regular secular R&B labels. Was it Columbia? I don't know. I have to look it up. I wrote it down, but I left it in there, so I'll look it up later. But I know BMG, Columbia BMG, I believe, or Sony Music BMG. Sorry. They're a company. They have merged all these different labels. So Arista is on there with some more companies, and they're just all merged together now. And of course, Verity now is under Sony BMG and Zomba and all that stuff. So all these labels are mixed with all these other labels, and it's interesting because I wouldn't mind it so much if it weren't for the fact that instead of the Christians, the godly people of God, sitting up and transforming these worldly artists that they come into contact with, instead they're like conforming in order to transform them, if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. But it's like you're hanging out with this ungodly fellow, and instead of them seeing Christ in you, they see themselves in you, and so they're not really moved, and nobody's getting saved anymore. I was talking to my friend Willie. Y'all remember Willie? He was singing I Need Thee. I put it up a few days ago, but I was talking to my friend Willie and we were just talking about worship, and I'm a worshiper, been since for as long as I can remember. I just love Jesus. But I was talking to him about gospel music nowadays, and we were talking about how it had been such a long time since I had received an album or purchased an album by a gospel artist, or purchased the music off iTunes that just had me just in worship mode, that just allowed me to press in. It was very interesting because Marvin Sapp Thirsty, that for me was the first time in a long time that I heard a gospel album to where the first 3 tracks had me out on the floor. Seriously, y'all, just laid out, crying, snotting, praying in spirit, speaking in tongues, just gone, gone elsewhere. And it's sad because we were talking about how a lot of gospel music nowadays is about you. It's about me, and look at me, and how I made it, and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of taking away credit from the Lord, sort of. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, having a testimonial song. There's nothing wrong with having an encouraging song. But your whole album should not be about you. You know, it's, at some point, it needs to just be, you know, Jesus, I worship you because you are Jesus. You know, you are God, you are good, and that's why I just love you. You know, it should be something like that somewhere, and it's strange. But Marvin was the first time in a long time I had received an album that really had me entering into the courts. So, thanks, Marvin.